on Yarra Ranges LIFE TV. I'm joined by Neal Taylor, the CEO of Holy Fools, as well as Councillor Tim Heenan, to have a bit of an in-depth discussion about the topic of homelessness throughout the Yarra Ranges and the Greater Yarra Valley region. Neal and Tim, thank you so much for joining us here on Yarra Ranges LIFE TV.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure.
Much pleasure, yeah.
Thank you. And gentlemen, can you? I'll start with you, Neal. Can I ask, how did you get involved, and what role do you play in addressing the issue of homelessness here?
Well, I guess I've grown up in a church, and all my life I've had an awareness of my grandfather being homeless in South Africa. But it was only as I sort of matured and developed a bit more that I thought that it was going to be. I wanted to become more involved in community, enhancing the community, and had an opportunity to go and study some more theology, or to go and study something that was going to benefit the community. So I went and studied the community course with the idea of learning the language and learning some of the issues that people were dealing with on the day-to-day basis with Centrelink and agencies and things like that. Mm-hmm. So that's how I began, and did that about 10 years ago. And in the process of doing that, I was placed with a community meal in Croydon, where I spent about 4 or 5 years working with a guy called David Canoop, who was a social worker that had set this meal up. And the meal was feeding anywhere from about 60 to 100 people every Tuesday night.
Wow, yeah.
And it was mainly people who were struggling and homeless people. So I guess my introduction to it was quite dramatic. Mm-hmm. Obviously been into the city and seen people there, but I wasn't aware that it was out here as much as what. So it was interesting to become more involved and learn that there was quite a huge issue out in the outer suburbs. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and then probably around about that time, 2009, we formed Holy Fools with the idea of being that it would provide at that stage a sort of an umbrella to do some chaplaincy work with the guys. So instead of just working with the guys in the meal, I was outside doing things, taking people to hospital, doing visits to police stations, hospital, jail, doctors, and things like that.
Providing that extra
support, frontline support. Yeah. So Holy Fools sort of was formed to provide that umbrella to work under. So,
fantastic.
Yeah.
And Tim, yourself, I know you've been involved in many different levels when it comes to discussing and promoting the issue of homelessness throughout the Yarra Ranges and the Yarra Valley.
Yeah. I had an opportunity in my second mayoral year in 2008 to come up with an idea that would perhaps inspire or get people thinking. And for a long time I had been concerned about people living in rental accommodation, considering my mother and father lost their home in 1966, and we then spent many years going through different rental accommodation, and unfortunately not able to stay because of landlords changing their mind and finding that we had to move on. It caused a lot of distress as a youngster because I went to different schools, and I probably thought, if there's something good I can do and a message I can send out there as mayor in 2008, I would do that. So I came up with the idea to sleep in a cardboard box for 8 nights in our local park in Lilydale, Melba Park. It was great. I got media attention, both from print and television, radio media. I then had to prove beyond that mayoral year that I was going to continue to do it. So I've repeated the process again of sleeping in the cardboard box 8 years since.
I was going to say, it's been 8 years now in a row.
And clocked up probably well over 800 hours of sleeping in there, and something like 125 nights. My good fortune was to meet Neal and all the rest of the gang at Holy Falls a couple of years later, seeing that he was the closest grassroots person within that Lilydale district that was operating on his own and without much help and without much money as well, to be able to try and get to the people and help them the most. We formed an alliance there quite a few years ago now, and our message is simple. Holy Fools' message is simple. Whenever we've had the sleep outs, whether they've been 10 nights or there's some years I've been able to do 30 nights, it's just getting an awareness of what's going on in our area. It's been wholly understood in Victorian Melbourne for many, many years that people out in the west have issues, but people all over Melbourne have issues of poverty and homelessness, and it's up to us, if we can, to put that message to the people every single time. And it's been great to have that alliance with Holy Falls to be able to do that.
So there is some positive light at the end of the tunnel, and that's in the way of solutions. And Holy Falls has been at the forefront in providing solutions for a range of the community members that find themselves in this situation. Neal, what kind of services exactly do you guys provide there?
Holy Falls provides a triage service. Unfortunately, we can't provide housing. We don't have the resources or the funds to do that. I mean, that's one of our ultimate dreams, to be able to do that.
But we provide concrete roofs overhead.
Yeah, even temporary.
Yeah.
But at the moment, what we do is offer frontline triage services, where we'll actively seek out people who are sleeping rough. We'll go looking and in the different areas around the, as Tim says, sort of in the bush as well, every now and then. We work just within the Yarra Ranges, so we tend to stick in the Mount Evelyn, Lilydale area, and all the way through to Warburton and places like that. Not so much on the Healesville side just yet at the moment, but we run 2 meals during the week, 2 lunches, where people who are experiencing homelessness can pop in for lunch. Now the idea of the food is to, well, be the nourishment, but it's also to be a point of contact for people that may be afraid to go into some of the agencies. So even today we had 2 or 3 fellas that had been sleeping rough just in the Lilydale area, who turned up today for lunch. One of them I'd actually spoken to you previously, but the other 2 were brand new today. And we were able to ascertain some of their issues and maybe provide like a blanket or a swag or something that was a bit more tangible. Unfortunately, when they go to somewhere like Anchor, which a lot of them, we refer them to Anchor, because Anchor can actually get them onto a database and go them into either boarding houses or in other places. But we try and work with them to say that's the best option, but failing any places available, then we'll often try and get them as comfortable as we can while they're on the street or sleeping in some sort of arrangement.
So Holy Falls is a bit of a frontline, I suppose, safety net that would then identify these individuals and then refer them on to perhaps some additional assistance and other services.
Yeah. I mean, we try to be as holistic as possible and understand everyone has got completely different needs. There's mental health issues and drug and alcohol issues to deal with as well. So, but we tend to provide this frontline triage service as much as we can. There's lots of people that we don't get to see, but there's also lots of people that we do get to see. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, out of all the different, I suppose, services that are provided out there, there's always a greater need, and there's always something else that can be done. And Tim, can I ask, as councillor now, what have you identified as potentially being one of the things that we could do within our own backyard, one of the, I suppose, facilities that we could provide to better help these people in trouble and those strugglers?
Thanks, Pat. The question is a big question.
Yeah, it's a big one.
And I'll be spending the next 4 years as councillor here in Yarra Ranges focusing on getting a drop-in centre. I'm absolutely convinced that that's the first and most important step for Holy Falls and other organisations that want to co-locate with Holy Falls in order to get an idea of where we're going to stand in the coming 1 or 2 decades. I'm concerned about the ABS statistics that will give us a much clearer picture on how many people are either sleeping in cars or that have been in rooming houses. And I'm aptly concerned about older females too, because it's going to show that they're becoming a huge trend in homelessness. But the important thing is we need to act in a proactive way. I've had initial discussions with my fellow councillors who are great and very supportive of what I'm doing. The directors and staff at Yarra Ranges Council are so. But it's something that has to have suitable planning and then go out to the public. And I will go out to every single member of the business public in and around Lilydale, because I believe somewhere out there in our local district there is a factory or a suitable house or a building or something that Holy Falls can utilise to start the game going. We can't go on forever Neal and the gang at Holy Falls do such a great job in feeding people, but it's a mobile situation, which they're doing out in the open. We've got to move on from that. We really do, and we've got to act in a proactive way. I understand what Neal needs because we've spoken about it for many hundreds of hours over the last 10 or 11 years.
At length.
I'm now in a position where I hopefully can make that change. I will appeal, I will beg, I will ask, I will do anything I can to bring someone forward to be able to give this suitable accommodation, this suitable premises for Holy Falls to start what they should have started if they were able to many years ago.
And again, so, Neal, if I can ask, the advantages of a drop-in centre and a physical location, what would that provide for an organisation like yourself?
Well, the idea of a drop-in centre, besides providing sort of a location for us to operate out of, would provide a space for us to, I guess, work with other people. The idea being that it's a central location, that it's a space that's got big enough for say, some of our offices, for other agencies' offices, for sort of rooms available for other agencies to come in and talk to people. But it's got space, for like a lounge area. It's got a dining area. We're looking at having areas for people to be able to safely store things.
And that's a big one too, because I think people don't appreciate that if you are struggling out there and you do have your bags or your sleeping gear of a night time, you need somewhere to store that during the day. Somewhere safe and secure. While if you are looking for work and trying to go to interviews, you need that refuge, a safe place where you know your things will be and belongings will be safe.
It's a lot for a homeless person in the middle of summer or the middle of winter to carry all this stuff around.
It provides sort of a holistic space for people so that they can come in, they can feel included, they can feel resourced, with showers and bathroom and washing machines and things like that. We do have a number of shower facilities, but no washing machine over in the centre of town. It's a safe place too. It's off the street. It provides dignity for people to come in, get a free cup of coffee or a tea or whatever, and sit somewhere and be able to talk to other people, form relationships with other people. Because what tends to happen at the moment is that a lot of people who are experiencing homelessness are very protective and very terrified, I guess is another way of saying, being terrified of being robbed, being hurt, so they don't often become involved with other people out on the streets. So you'll find that there's a lot of people sleeping singly and alone, whereas a space like this would be able to introduce people together and provide a bit of a chance to build community.
And you use a very key word there, dignity, I think is very important. You were saying earlier on in regards to a drop-in centre or some of the work that you've done, it's enabled a lot of people to plug into the people that are trying to assist them, and also allows them to, I suppose, through the energy and the effort that they themselves put back in, either through volunteering, helping with the dishes or cleaning up. It really helps them in that regard too.
It does. It becomes like their own place, like I guess a third place or somewhere that's they feel that they've got a bit of ownership and inclusiveness into it. It's just powerful stuff. Even with just asking people to, to mop the floors or to vacuum afterwards. It just gets them involved in the day-to-day processes. They can feel proud about what they've done, and it's a way of including them in the running of the place.
Absolutely. And Tim, if I can go back to you in regards to having a facility like a drop-in centre, just I suppose the community link options, and I suppose if I can ask you what kind of a link to the community or council services or other agencies would a place like this provide?
It gives Yarra Ranges Council an opportunity to go to one area to speak to one identity or two or three identities rather than have to travel all over the region. We've got fantastic other people in Yarra Ranges besides Neal that have their own little pockets of helping the destitute and homeless people and that. And I'm not suggesting that they're going to come down to Lilydale to have a centrally focused area. What I'm suggesting is it's difficult, and look, we're well aware in 2017 the pressures that are going to be born coming out of changes in welfare from the federal government that'll trickle down to state Local government will have to react to the NDIS when that comes in. We really should get focused now on proactively understanding where the people are and how many people there are and what the need is, rather than just getting in general terms a casual knowledge of that. The time is well gone past when a permanent area for people like Holy Falls and the other agencies that want to co-locate with him need to have a central location. It's the only way to pick up the people that are falling through the cracks. And in this day and age, so many people are falling through the cracks. Yeah. We have to stop it at all cost.
Okay. Neal, Tim, thank you so much for your time and your comments and sharing your experience with us here on Yarra Ranges Life TV. And look, this is certainly an issue that we'll be following up on over the coming months. Excellent. And looking forward to talking to you more down the track, hopefully in a few months' time, where maybe we've seen some change. And
we'll get a drop-in centre by hook or by crook.
We'll get it happening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.